Hi there, welcome to Two Birds. I'm Fiona, and today's class is a 60-minute Vinyasa flow class which moves at a deliberately slow pace. So we have some longer holds in accessible postures with slower transitions, so you can really indulge in an unhurried practice. It's a class that's suitable for all levels, anytime during the day, whenever you need to stretch, restore range of motion, and preserve your energy levels. I hope you enjoy. Thanks for joining. Namaste. And begin your practice in a comfortable cross-legged seat, taking a folded blanket, a block or a cushion underneath your seat, allowing your pelvis to lightly tilt forward, your knees to relax down, if possible below your hips, so you can sit elegantly long, letting the crown of your head reach toward the ceiling and bringing your chin parallel with the floor. And let your eyes fall closed. And begin to attune your awareness into the sensations that you can feel in your body, the movement of your breath. Registering just the physical tone of your body, your shape and outline, making any subtle adjustments in your posture so you feel very open and receptive. You can relax the space in between your eyebrows, your temples, your mouth and your throat. And once you're comfortable, begin by taking some deeper, more deliberate breaths. Consciously slowing your breath down so you can elongate your breath into the full circumference of your lungs. Feel the rhythm of your breath, its pace. And bringing your breath into balance, equal part inhale, equal part exhale. And taking 5 more deep breaths here. And simply focusing your attention, you can begin your practice with the experience of clarity, focus. And setting a rhythm and pace to your breath that will help support your movement. As you feel yourself breathe out, drop your head toward your heart, your chin toward your chest. And keeping the eyes closed here, we'll just start by mobilizing the shoulders and the neck. Just linger here, stretching down through the ligaments, through the back of your neck. And let your head grow heavy. And then just really slow, roll your chin around the front of your chest and lean your left ear over to your left shoulder. Lengthening through the right side of your neck. And then roll your chin around the front of your chest and tip your right ear over to your right shoulder. Shoulders can relax down even more. And then roll your chin back toward your chest Gently, gently blink the eyes open and lift your gaze, bring yourself upright. And with your hands on your knees, your thighs there, we'll just take a few rounds of cat and cow here, seated. So just allow yourself to rock back, dome your spine, chin falls toward your chest. And as you breathe in, rock forward on your pelvis, gently lift the heart and your gaze. We'll do a few more rounds just like that, just moving slow. The movement doesn't need to be too exaggerated. Just moving in a way that feels helpful. Breathing a little bit of space into the spine. One more round in each direction, starting to sync your movement with your breath. Making your way back to a neutral spine, and here we'll just practice a sliding twist. So we just slide our right hand forward, our left hand back, and revolve to the left. And then the opposite direction, left arm comes forward, right hand comes back, slide and twist to your right. And do that a few more rounds. If you can, lift the low ribs a little higher away from your hips. So you feel like your midsection is free to move and revolve. One more each side. Breathing deep. And then come back to center. Press your palms to your heart center and we'll roll our wrists. So just send the fingers forward and then roll the back of the hands together. Twice more just like that. And then circle back in the opposite direction. Now extend both arms out straight, palms face up. Tuck your thumb into the center of your palm, fingers over the thumb, and turn your fist down. Fingers point down, arms are at shoulder height. And then as you breathe in, just roll the wrists away from one another and then toward each other. So just some nice gentle circles. And circle back in the opposite direction. And then spread all your fingers. If you can, roll over your legs and come forward onto all fours, or just bring your feet around in front of you and arrange yourself there. Set your hands up underneath your shoulders, spread all your fingers, and then look back at your knees, set them up hip distance apart underneath your hips. Press down through the tops of your feet and stretch all 10 toes back. And gently arch the spine. As you breathe in, let your belly dip toward the floor, your gaze lift. And as you breathe out, push into your hands, your shins, gently round the spine. And just move with that sequence with your breath, gently arching and rounding the spine. You can feel the shoulder blades broaden away from the midline of your back as you round. One more round in each direction. Make your way back to a neutral spine there. Keep the hands positioned underneath your shoulders. Extend your right leg back straight and land on the balls of your right toes. And then just take a gentle rock forward and back. So you're leaning into the heel of your right foot. Forward and back on the wrists. And try and make full contact with the mat with your hands. So you're gripping through the perimeter of your hands, the knuckles of your fingers. And then go ahead, rock back to center and raise your right leg. Right toes point toward the floor. Reach back through your heel and keep the gaze forward at the top edge of your mat. Take a deep breath in. As you exhale, draw your right knee in toward your nose and let your spine actively round here, dome toward the ceiling. Hold there, and then just, if you can, cross your right leg in front of your left leg so your legs cross, and sit back onto your buttocks to come into cow face legs. Right leg sitting on top of the left leg, both soles of the feet point back. And take your hands to your ankles there and just nestle the legs in toward each other. If it's uncomfortable for you, feel free to extend your left leg out straight here, right leg just wrapped on top. Reach the arms up overhead and bend your left elbow and swim your hand down in between your shoulder blades. Take your right hand to your left elbow. And then sit tall through the spine, including the back of your skull, lining the back of your skull up with the back of your pelvis, so your head's not nodding forward there. Deep breath in. As you exhale, release your left hand down to your left side, down to the mat. Slide the left hand away and reach the right arm up and overhead. And just take a gentle lateral stretch. Take a few breaths as you arrive. Gaze can fall down, or you might like to turn your gaze up underneath your right armpit. Extend straight through your right arm to the edge of your fingers. As you breathe in, push off that left hand and take your side stretch over to your right. Right hand down, left arm up and overhead now. And just incrementally moving into the lateral stretch. So you want to sustain an even rhythmic breath. So you can breathe into the left side of your rib cage. And one more deep breath in. And exhale, release. Take your hands forward there, and we're going to unravel. We'll come back onto all fours, bringing the right knee forward and stepping back onto your right knee so you're back in a tabletop position. And once you've arrived, extend your left leg out straight and land on the balls of your left toes. When you're ready, when you're steady, just a little rock forward and back, stretching gently into the back of your left heel, the calf. In front of the left thigh is lifting up in space and pushing actively down through your hands. So you're closing up the air pockets underneath your hands. So you're taking the heat out of the wrists. And then rock yourself back to center, shoulders over the wrists. Raise the left leg. Take a deep breath in. As you exhale, draw your left knee in toward your nose. Let your spine round. Low belly hugs in, and then wrap your left leg in front of your right leg. And come to sit, leaning the buttocks back. And then catch a hold of your ankles and make enough space there so you can sit down in between your feet. Legs are crossed, and here, if it feels uncomfortable for your knees or too twisted up, you can extend your right leg out straight there. Reaching the arms up overhead. This time take your right hand and swim it down in between your shoulder blades. And take your left hand to the top of your right elbow. And then just a little bit mindful about the position of your head. If you can, try not to let your head nod forward there, nice and tall through the spine, so your low back feels really tall. And then tune into your breath. Notice if you can improve the quality of your breath. Making it a little deeper, a little longer, smooth in texture. And we take our lateral stretch now, releasing the hands. Right hand down to your right side. Slide the right fingertips away. Reach your left arm overhead. And just turn your gaze down so the neck's relaxed there. You can breathe a smooth breath, comfortable, easeful breath. And when you're ready, up and over to the other side. Left hand falls down next to your left hip and slide it away. Right arm up and overhead. Breathing into the right side waist. And then pushing off your left hand, come all the way up. Take your hands forward and unravel your legs so you come back onto all fours. Finding your tabletop position. And then balancing on your left hand, keep it underneath your left shoulder. Reach your right arm out to the side. So you're just finding your range of motion in your shoulder. You might be able to take the right hand all the way up toward the ceiling. Just find that point where it feels like a nice stretch through the armpit without overdoing it. And then go ahead, thread the needle, thread the right arm underneath your left arm and come down onto your right shoulder, right side cheek. And then take your left fingertips off the side edge of your mat. Spider-Man the hand, so you're on your fingertips there, and lift the left elbow up toward the ceiling. So here we're just trying to keep that space through the top of our chest so our breath stays free. Lungs stay available. And then push down through both your shins. Allow your body weight to lean down into your right shoulder. And we'll take 2 more breaths. And then walk your left hand back onto the mat, plant the palm down. Push down through your left hand to reach the right arm all the way up, either out to the side or up toward the ceiling. And then take your right hand to the small of your back and lean your buttocks back toward your heels so you're in a one-hand child's pose there. And then as you breathe in, push down through your shins, raise the hips. Keep your right hand at the small of your back, reach your left arm up toward the ceiling, coming to a half camel. Just a really mild arch through the spine, a lift to the chest, sternum lifts up away from your belly. Maybe taking the gaze up. And as you exhale, sit your buttocks down and then bring both hands forward to the floor. We'll set up for the other side, leaning onto your right hand now, left arm either out to the side or up toward the ceiling. And then as you breathe out, thread the left arm underneath your right arm and come down onto your left shoulder, left side cheek. Popping up onto your right fingertips and walk your right fingertips off to the right. And find that space across your collarbones. And then breathe to the parts in your body where you feel like you've got a little bit more space to breathe. You're in a really mild twist here. Particularly for your middle back, it might be freer to breathe up toward the armpits, toward your chest. And then go ahead, shift your right hand back onto your mat, palm down. Left hand all the way up toward the ceiling as you open back up. Left hand to the small of your back and finding your child's pose with your right arm forward, left hand at your sacrum. Just bow in toward the floor, head can rest. And supporting your low back as you breathe in, you come up, lifting the knees up above your hips, reach the right arm up and find a little mild arch through the spine, pressing the hips forward, abdominals engaged. And then release, coming back onto all fours. Keeping your hips balanced above your knees here, walk your hands forward and come into Anahatanasana. So hands a little wider than the width of your shoulders. Hands might creep off the front edge of your mat there, finding that downward dog shape in your upper body. Diagonal line from your tailbone all the way to the back of your skull. And then with your arms overhead here, your shoulder blades will gently rotate and lift, and that's okay, but just try and find a nice soft energy around the back of your neck so you're not tensing there. Arms feel really extended, arm bones long. As you breathe in, gaze forward between your hands and melt yourself down all the way down onto your belly. Setting up for Sphinx pose, just walk your forearms forward, a little forward of your shoulders, bring your forearms parallel with one another. Extend both legs back, all 10 toes back. Feet can be about hip width apart. And then as you push down through your inner elbows, your inner forearms, start to lift the chest. Bring the chest and heart forward through your arms. Feel the shoulder blades sink down your spine now as your heart lifts. Lingering long enough to smooth the rhythm of your breath once you've found your shape. And then we'll just move a little with our breath. Slide your fingertips back. Keep the hands nice and wide there and forward of your shoulders. Come up onto the fingertips. And we're going to push down into our fingertips. Gently lift and open the heart. So you come into a Cobra variation. As you breathe out, you're just going to peel down toward the floor. So you're giving yourself a little bit more room here in your back bend with your hands a bit forward. Inhale, peel up. Exhale, peel down. So try not to let your legs go soggy here. You've got firm, active legs. Inhale, peel up, finding a uniform arch through your spine. Exhale, all the way down. Transitioning into child's pose. Hands come back by your ribs. Push down into your hands. Firm belly, glide up onto all fours. And then take the buttocks back in space toward your heels, keeping your arms reaching forward. Spread all your fingers. And just feel your little fingers find the edges of your mat there. So hands a little wider than your shoulders. Sense how your breath now moves into the back of your body. Feel it touching your ribs, your middle and upper back as you breathe. And this is your rest pose. If you need to take a break or do less, you can return here anytime during the class. As you breathe in, glide up onto all fours, preparing for downward facing dog. Gently tuck the toes, float the hips up toward the ceiling, and find your first downward facing dog. And please feel free to pedal out through your heels, just keeping that nice slow pace to your movement. So you're mindful of your breath, mindful of your movement. Might feel nice to shake the head out, sway the hips a little side to side. And then just make your way back to center. Keep a bend in your right knee. Turn your left toes out about 30 degrees and work towards straightening your left leg. Keeping the right knee bent. Push into your hands, lengthen your arm bones and lean your torso back toward your thighs. Just accessing a stretch down the outer left hip. And then pivot the left toes forward, right toes forward, bend the left knee, turn your right toes out. And keep the right leg straight and gently lean back so you get that nice stretch through the outer right hip. And one more deep breath in and out. And turn the toes forward, light bend in the knees, gaze forward, and take your time. Walk, step or hop to the top edge of your mat. We're just going to set the feet up hip distance apart there. Light bend in the knees and easy forward fold. Any comfortable position with your arms there. I like to catch opposite elbows, but you can let your arms dangle. And then just swaying a little forward and back when you arrive from the heels to the toes, finding your center of support, equilibrium through all four corners of your feet. And try and avoid any pulling on the low back, so you can bend the knees as deeply as you like here, so your torso can comfortably sit on your thighs. And the weight of your head just dropping down toward the floor, gently tractioning your spine. We'll take 2 more breaths here. And if you have your arms bound, just let your hands fall to the floor, hang in ragdoll. Deeper bend in the knees, press down through your feet, just slowly rise to stand. Conscious that you're stacking each vertebra as you rise. When you're upright, reach the arms out, then up overhead. Send your gaze up to the tip of your thumbs. As you exhale, bring your hands to your heart center. And keeping your feet hip distance apart, we'll start to move and flow. Reach the arms overhead as you breathe in. As you breathe out your forward fold or Uttanasana, really try and slow your movement down. Indulge in this slower pace. Inhale, hands to your shins. Linger for an extra breath. Bring your heart forward, flat back, straight legs. When you're ready, fingertips to the floor and lunge your right leg back. We're going to set up for a low lunge. Just keeping your fingertips on the floor, framing your left foot. And pressing down through the top of your right shin. And take a few moments to pause. Get that smooth texture to your breath. Light stretch through the front of your right thigh. And just checking in, making sure you've got a good stride between your back knee and your front heel. So your left knee is stacked over your ankle. We'll take 2 more breaths here. And then walking your fingertips back underneath your shoulders, work towards straightening your left leg. Left toes curl up toward the ceiling. Left quads engaged above your kneecap. And then be as elevated as you need to be to give yourself enough space through the front of your spine, the front of your torso, to breathe a nice deep breath. Keep a little micro bend in the left knee if you've got tight hamstrings and you feel less open. Really prioritize the movement of your breath. And as you breathe out, roll forward onto the sole of your left foot and walk your left foot out laterally to your left. You can find the edge of the mat and then peel open onto the outer edge, the pinky toe side edge of your left foot. Keeping your right hand on the floor, take your left hand to the inner left knee. Gently guide your left knee out and open, so you should feel a deeper stretch there through the inner left thigh. You might like to keep the gaze down or just slowly turn the gaze up and out over your left shoulder. Pause and linger, a couple of breaths. And then send the gaze down, reframe your left foot, walking it back to the midline of your mat. Coming up onto the fingertips, so just give yourself a little bit more space and step forward, right foot up to the top edge of the mat. Bring your feet spaced hip width apart. Take your time to arrive. As you feel yourself breathing, come up halfway and hands can slide to your shins. Lengthen through the back seams of your legs, the length of your spine. When you're ready, forward fold over the legs, deep bend in the knees. Rise on your in-breath, reaching the arms out and up overhead. And then pause. Take your hands to your heart center, thumbs to the sternum, and find your equilibrium. Improve your posture across your chest, just dropping the shoulders, fanning out across the collarbones. And we'll reset for the second side. Arms overhead as you breathe in. Forward fold as you breathe out. Taking care of your back as you fold. On your in-breath, halfway lift, Arda Uttanasana, hands to your shins. Look forward, extend. As you exhale, fingertips to the floor, go ahead, lunge your left foot back. Taking the left knee to the floor and just finding your low lunge. Fingertips can stay on the floor. You might be able to wriggle your left knee a little further back there, making sure your right knee is positioned over your ankle. And then check in with your upper body, making sure you feel open and spacious enough so you can breathe. You might like to rock a little forward and back or side to side with the hips. And we'll take 2 more breaths. When you're ready, making your way into Arda, Hanuman, half monkey pose, walking the hands further back and underneath your shoulders, straightening out through your right leg. So dig your right heel into the floor and point the right toes up toward the ceiling or back toward your face, so you really feel like you're stretching through the back of your leg. The thigh muscles engage above your right kneecap. And then notice the balance through your hips. You might need to draw your right hip further back and your left hip forward to feel that balance across your hips and the sacrum. Breathing into the back seam of your leg. Noticing where you can feel sensation. And then very gently just roll forward onto the sole of your right foot and walk your right foot out to the right lane, to the corner edge of your mat there. Peel open onto the outer edge of your right foot. And if it's comfortable for you, keep the left hand on the floor, right hand to your inner right knee. And without forcing anything here, just gently guiding your right knee out to the side to gently open your hip. And let that shape feel comfortable in your body, easeful, and your breath's going to let you know in the most direct and honest way your position and shape, whether it's helpful or not helpful. Just keeping your breath smooth and even. And one more deep breath in. As you exhale, reframe your right foot, walking it back to the midline of your mat. And hands to the floor here. We'll take a half flow. Press down into your hands to step back to downward facing dog. And take your time to spread your fingers and anchor your hands. And float the sit bones up toward the ceiling. And then we'll just flow, half flow, rippling forward to a high push-up. Long and strong in your body, and your eyes fall to the top edge of the mat. So the back of your neck's nice and long. And then just softly bend the knees toward the floor, toward a hover, and then lift the hips up and back. Return to your downward facing dog. And we'll do that twice more, just rippling forward to your high pusher. Hold strong through the arms and the shoulders, and then just lightly soften the knees toward the floor, then send the hips up and back, torso back toward your thighs, downward facing dog. One more time in your own time. Just taking your unhurried breath with you as you move. And we'll take the heat out of the hands here, light bend in the knees, and walk yourself, step or hop to the top edge of the mat, just setting your feet up hip distance apart when you arrive. Take your time. And when you're ready, a halfway lift, hands to the shins, look up, straight flat back, exhale and forward fold over your legs. Rise. When you're ready, pushing down into your feet, strong straight legs, circle your arms overhead, and exhale, hands to your heart center. And take a moment to pause. As you breathe in, your sternum lifts toward your thumbs. As you breathe out, navel drawing back toward your spine, so you feel firm around your midsection, steady, balanced in your posture. Deep breath in, reach your arms overhead. Exhale, forward fold over your legs. On your inhale, rise up halfway, take an extra breath, really stretch out through your spine. And then fingertips to the floor, lunge your right leg back and make your way into Warrior One. We're going to land the whole sole of the right foot down. And just rise up really slow. And just start with your hands on your hips. So you can position your pelvis and turn your hips comfortably forward. So if you feel like you have any discomfort in your low back here, it's always a nice rule of thumb to track your spine in the same direction as your pelvis. So you might be a little bit more rotated toward your right there. If you feel open through your hips, you can bring the right hip a little further forward, left hip comes back. Try and keep your right leg super straight, really strong, your back heel grounded. And once you've found your position, reach your arms up alongside your ears. And as you raise your arms, turn your pinky fingers in toward each other. And feel for a nice soft energy around your traps, around the sides of the neck, the very top of your shoulders. Keeping the arms active. And keeping the legs where they are now, we're just going to float the arms out wide to the side. And we'll set up for eagle arms, taking your right arm on top of your left arm. And your option here is to catch opposite shoulders. So you're crossing your arms, giving yourself a hug, or wrap your hands so your hands come to press in prayer. And the intention here is to try and widen that space in between your shoulder blades and your upper back, giving yourself an upper back stretch through the thoracic and upper back. You project your forearms forward or your elbows forward there to find that stretch. And if you've got your eagle arms, your fingertips lift, your gaze falls soft toward where your elbows cross. So you're reducing your gaze here to a very single focal point, which means you have to be a little bit more careful with your center of gravity and your balance. So feel your feet firmly anchored. Firm the belly. And we're going to unravel the arms, take them up over here, back to Warrior One. As you breathe out, take your hands to the floor to frame your left foot, and we'll set up for Runner's Lunge. So wriggle your right toes back, coming onto the balls of your right toes, and take your right knee to the floor there, just to give yourself a little bit more space. So you're in that low lunge position. We're going to keep the right hand down on the floor, pushing down into the right hand, raise the left hand up toward the ceiling. And you want to draw a straight line, left hand to your right hand there. So your shoulders stack and all sides of your neck feel really long. So you even feel the back of your skull lift forward. Gently rotating to your left. Breathe a generous breath in. As you breathe out, both hands to the floor to set up for lizard pose. Hands come to the inside of your left foot now. And you keep your right knee down. You might like to walk your left foot out a little further to the left side. Your left knee hugs your upper left arm. And then try and get the feeling you're drawing your chest forward and through your arms. You might be up on your fingertips here or your palms down. If you've got a little bit more mobility, perhaps the forearms can come down. If you take that option, try not to compromise the feeling of length through your spine. And taking 2 more smooth breaths in and out. And release. We're going to come up onto the fingertips. Keep your hands on the inside of the left foot there. Maybe walk the left foot out to the left a little bit further and turn your left toes out. If it's possible for you, step your right foot forward to the top edge of your mat and come into squat pose. So Malasana, yogi squat, which can be done a little bit more elevated or sitting on the back of your calves. If you are a little bit more elevated there, you can sit your buttocks back or your weight into your heels, and the forearms can just sit on the top of your thighs. If you feel like you can sit down on the back of your calves and bring your hands to your heart center, elbows to the inner knees. And this is a really lovely and helpful position for gently opening the inner thighs and bringing length to all 3 parts of your spine. So it's nice here to just drop your chin lightly in toward your chest to feel the length from the back of your skull all the way down to your tailbone. Light press with the elbows to the inner knees and the knees resist. And then taking the hands to the floor, and we toe heel our feet back to hip distance apart. Halfway lift as you breathe in, hands to the shins. Exhale, forward fold. And take your time, rise to stand, reach your arms out, then up, gaze up. And exhale, hands to your heart center. Just setting up for the other side. Take a few moments to pause, notice how you feel on your right side versus your left side. And then as you breathe in, reach your arms overhead. Breathing out, forward fold, Uttanasana. Inhale, coming up halfway, hands to your shins. Just take an extra breath here, really stretch out through your spine, the backs of your legs. And then fingertips down, stepping your left foot back for warrior 1. And left heel grounds. And take your time to rise up through your torso. Hands can land at your hips. And then find the perfect shape for your upper body in relation to your legs. So your sacrum, your pelvis feels comfortable, low back spine is at ease. And it might be that you're a little bit more rotated through the torso to your left rather than fully square to the top edge of your mat. So really feel conscious of that. You can walk your right foot out into the right lane to find that little bit more space in your hips. Do dig the outer left pinky toe side of your foot down into the mat, so you've got that upward energy through the left leg. Then reach your arms up alongside your ears. And letting the hips sink down lightly, might finding a deeper lunge in the right leg. Driving down through your front heel. And then get a little taller through your torso. A little softer around the shoulders as you reach the arms. And float the arms out wide to the side, preparing for eagle arms. And here we take our left arm on top of our right arm, either catching opposite shoulders or wrapping the arms, pressing the palms. Notice how this shape in the arms creates a dome through your upper back. And see if you can exaggerate that by drawing the forearms forward and really hugging the arms toward each other. Softening around the corners of your mouth, your expression. And returning to your warrior one, unraveling the arms, reaching them up alongside your ears. And then as you breathe out, hands to the floor to set up for a runner's lunge twist. So your left knee to the floor there, hands either side of your right foot. And once you're arranged, left hand stays down, right hand to the sky. And oftentimes it feels natural to throw our heads back here to gaze up, but just notice the length of your spine, really conscious of your spine, particularly through the back of your neck, and it'll feel longer, a little bit more elongated if you draw the chin lightly in toward your chest, and then turn the gaze up toward your right fingertips. And conscious of your feet, your left knee, pushing everything down with what you've got in contact with the mat to just allow yourself to open. Deep breath in here. As you exhale, take both hands to the floor on the inside of your right foot there for lizard pose. Walk your right foot out into the right lane. Land the hands there underneath your shoulders and perhaps stepping your left knee further back. Right knee's positioned over your ankle. Your heart's moving forward in space through your arms. And again, just notice what your head's doing. If it's nodding down, perhaps dropping. Bring everything in line. Back of the skull, middle of the back, tailbone. And take a couple of extra breaths. And then reframing your right foot there, walk it back to the midline. We are going to make our way onto our buttocks. So any way you'd like to get there, you can sweep the left foot forward, move yourself back to the middle of your mat. Knees stay bent, feet on the floor. And just getting comfortable. So sitting on your sit bones here. And spine straight up and down. And then lean back into your hands so your fingertips point toward the top edge of your mat. Walk your feet away from you and then walk your feet out wide to the edges of your mat away from one another. And keeping that push down through your hands, just sway the knees over to the left. And then rock your knees up and over to your right. And then do that a few more times, just really loosening out through your hips. Make your way back to center. And bring your spine really upright there. Tuck your knees in. Feet are on the floor. And then rock back onto the soft part of your buttocks. Slide your hands behind the back of your knees to set up for supported boat pose. Arda. Once you have your balance, start to raise the legs, and you might find that the toes just hover above the floor, or you might be able to bring your legs into a right angle, calves parallel with the floor. So concentrate on really lifting through your spine. It's easy to round through the middle and lower back here. If you can, stay really tall through the low back by pushing into your sit bones, hugging the knees toward your chest. And continuing to breathe. Great posture for strengthening your spinal muscles as well as your abdominal core. As you breathe out here, we're going to take the left heel to our right sit bone and just step the right foot down to the floor. And we'll take an open twist. Bring your left fingertips behind you to support you. Reach the right arm up toward the ceiling so you find length through both sides of your waist. And then bring your right arm on the inside of your right leg. And so your right hand falls down toward your inner right ankle. And you just use that very light leverage to rotate around to your left. You breathe in, lift and expand your ribs with your breath. Breathe out, belly firms and you revolve. And we'll take a few more breaths here. And then bringing the gaze back to the front of your room. Unravel the legs and step both feet down onto the mat. Just taking your hands behind the back of your legs to set up for boat pose. Supported, rock back onto the soft part of your buttocks, find your balance. Start to raise the legs any amount there. And ideally just drawing your chest toward your knees and staying upright and elevated through the spine. Steady gaze toward the toes. And one more deep breath in. As you release your right heel toward your left buttocks and stamp the left foot down onto the floor to set up for our twist. Revolving to your right fingertips behind you. Extend your left arm up toward the ceiling, really reach up through your torso. And then place your left arm on the inside of your left knee there. And start to revolve. Some nice easy breaths. It's an open twist. It should feel nice. Your breath's going to help here to expand the ribs, and the ribs create a little bit of space in between each of the vertebrae as you breathe in. As you breathe out, the belly firms and you support your lumbar spine as you twist. And one more full breath in and out. And send the gaze forward and unravel. Send both legs out straight here and set them up a hip distance apart, toes flexed. And you might like to prop yourself on the edge of a blanket or a cushion there just to elevate your seat. Feel for a light forward tilt through the pelvis. And fingertips down by your side, tall through your spine. On your in-breath, reach your arms up alongside your ears. And then conscious as you fold here over your legs that you draw the navel back toward your spine. So the low belly hugs in and back. You make a little bit more space to fold forward. If it feels more natural for you and more accessible, a light bend in the knees there. Let the hands land either beside your legs or toward your toes. No over effort. Simply folding forward, bowing in. And letting your breath move toward its natural, spontaneous rhythm. Directing yourself toward rest. And there's no rush, taking your unhurried time to release and make yourself comfortable to either sit upright for seated meditation or rest back in shavasana, and you might like to grab an extra layer, a blanket, any accessories that you have to allow yourself to feel comfortable and at ease as you rest at the end of your practice. If you're laying back, taking your feet a little wider than your hips, letting your feet fall out to the sides, laying your torso in a straight line, and then just resting your arms away from the sides of your body, palms face up. If you're sitting upright, prop yourself on a cushion or a blanket so you can sit comfortably tall without over effort. And when you're ready, just close your eyes and relax in, let your body weight empty into the support of your mat. And let your body sigh. And just feel a wave of relaxation moving over the front of your body, over your face, your chest, your arms and your belly. Getting that feeling that the front of your body is receding back. You can let your breath support you here by extending the length of your out-breath to really help you clear out and reset. And now give your mind's eye a single point of focus. You may wish to just simply follow your breath, the feeling tone of your breath coming and going. You may have a mantra or a positive affirmation you'd like to say to yourself. Or just simply an image or the colours that you can see behind your eyelids. Just give yourself that one single point of focus. Challenge yourself to stay focused for the last few minutes of your practice, helping to create focus, clarity. And if your mind has wandered away from your point of focus, just gently guide it back. Begin to widen your field of awareness. Breathing into the length of your body. Tuning into the sounds that surround you. Bringing some movement into your limbs. And if you're lying back, just bending your knees, taking your feet to the floor. And rolling out to the side that feels most comfortable for you. Give yourself a moment to let your eyes adjust to the light in your room. And when you're ready, dragging yourself all the way back up to sit. Namaste.